Welcome back everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day and you're ready for something truly unforgettable. Because today we're diving into one of those moments that remind us why talent shows can still surprise us, still move us, and still make even the toughest judges completely lose control of their emotions. So make sure you stay with me till the end because this story is not just about a performance, it's about vulnerability, courage, and a voice that managed to break through years of routine and touch a man who has seen it all. The stage lights are bright, the audience is buzzing, and the atmosphere inside the theater feels heavy with anticipation. This is America's Got Talent, a stage where thousands come every season hoping to turn a dream into reality. Some arrive confident, some nervous, some overprepared, and others with nothing but raw talent and a heart full of hope. On this particular night, the judges take their seats as usual. Howie Mandel is playful and curious, Sofia Vergara is smiling with excitement, Heidi Klum looks ready to be impressed, and Simon Cowell sits there with his familiar expression, arms crossed, eyes sharp, a man who has spent decades listening to singers from all over the world. This is the same Simon Cowell who has heard every kind of voice, every genre, every emotional story imaginable. Very little surprises him anymore. Or at least that's what everyone thinks. Then Ryan Beard walks onto the stage. At first glance, Ryan doesn't look like someone who is about to change the entire mood of the room. He comes across as calm, humble, and slightly nervous, like so many contestants before him. He introduces himself politely, his voice steady but carrying that slight tremble that comes when you're standing in front of millions of people, knowing that this moment could change your life forever. The judges ask him a few questions. Where are you from? What do you do? Why are you here? His answers are simple and honest. He talks about music not as a strategy, not as a career plan, but as something deeply personal. Music is how he expresses what he cannot always say with words. Music is how he survives. Simon listens, but his face doesn't change much. He's heard this before. Almost every singer says music is their life. Almost every singer claims they have something special. For Simon, the real test always begins when the music starts. Ryan takes a breath. The room quiets down. The band is ready, the lights dim slightly, and the first notes begin. From the very first second Ryan opens his mouth, something shifts. His voice is not just good, it's emotionally charged. There's a texture to it, a kind of controlled pain mixed with warmth. It's the kind of voice that doesn't scream for attention but pulls you in slowly, almost gently, until you realize you're fully invested. He's not trying to impress with vocal gymnastics. He's not trying to show off range or power for the sake of it. Instead, he sings like he's telling a story that matters deeply to him. The audience starts leaning forward. Some people stop breathing for a moment. You can see reactions changing, eyes widening, faces softening. Even the judges begin to look at each other, sensing that something unexpected is happening. Ryan's song choice is crucial. It fits his voice perfectly, allowing him to showcase not just his technical ability but his emotional intelligence as a performer. He understands when to pull back and when to push forward. He lets certain notes linger just long enough to hurt, just long enough to feel real. This is not a performance that feels rehearsed in a mechanical way. It feels lived in. It feels honest. As the song progresses, the emotional weight builds. Ryan's voice cracks slightly at just the right moments, not from weakness, but from authenticity. Those imperfections become strengths. They remind everyone watching that this is a human being standing on that stage, exposing a part of himself that most people keep hidden. Then the camera cuts to Simon Cowell. At first, Simon is still composed. He's listening carefully, his head slightly tilted, eyes fixed on Ryan. But as the song reaches its emotional core, something changes. Simon's expression softens. His posture shifts. He's no longer leaning back with his arms crossed. He's leaning forward, completely focused. This is the moment viewers live for, the moment when you realize that even Simon Cowell is being affected. Ryan continues, completely unaware of the impact he's having. He's lost in the song, in the feeling, in the story he's telling. Every word lands with meaning. Every note feels intentional. The audience is silent now, not because they're bored, but because they're captivated. You could hear a pin drop. By the time Ryan reaches the final part of the song, the tension in the room is almost unbearable. He pours everything he has left into those last lines. His voice rises, not in volume alone, but in emotion. It's raw, it's vulnerable, it's powerful in a way that can't be taught. The final note hangs in the air. Silence. For a split second, nobody reacts. And then the theater explodes. The audience jumps to their feet, cheering, clapping, some people wiping tears from their eyes. The applause is thunderous, overwhelming, and completely genuine. This isn't polite applause. This is the sound of people who just witnessed something special. Ryan stands there, clearly overwhelmed. His eyes widen as he takes in the reaction. He looks like someone who didn't expect this, like someone who came just hoping for a chance and suddenly received something much bigger. The judges stand as well. Sophia is visibly emotional. Heidi is smiling broadly, clapping enthusiastically. Howie looks impressed, nodding with approval. And then there's Simon. Simon Cowell stands up. This alone is enough to send a shockwave through the audience. Simon doesn't stand up easily. He doesn't give standing ovations unless he truly believes in what he just saw. But this time, he's on his feet, applauding, and there's something different about his expression. He looks genuinely moved. When the applause finally begins to die down, Simon is the first to speak. He pauses for a moment, collecting his thoughts, which is rare for him. You can tell he's choosing his words carefully. He starts by saying that he's heard thousands of singers over the years. He's worked with some of the biggest names in the music industry. He's sat through countless auditions. And yet, performances like this are why he still does this show. He talks about how Ryan's voice made him feel something real, something he wasn't expecting. Simon admits that he didn't know what to expect when Ryan walked onto the stage, but what he delivered was not just a song, it was an experience. He praises Ryan's tone, his emotional control, and most importantly, his honesty as an artist. You can hear it in Simon's voice. This isn't his usual critical analysis. This is admiration. At one point, Simon even jokes about how difficult it is to surprise him these days, but Ryan managed to do exactly that. The audience cheers again, reacting to the rare moment of vulnerability from the famously tough judge. Sophia speaks next, describing how Ryan's performance made her feel connected, even though she didn't know his story before he sang. She talks about how music has the power to cross language barriers, and Ryan proved that with his voice alone. Heidi adds that she could imagine Ryan's music being played on the radio, in movies, in moments that matter to people's lives. Howie, in his signature style, comments on how Ryan made the room disappear, how for a few minutes, it felt like everyone was inside the song with him. He calls it one of those auditions that reminds people why they love the show. Then comes the moment everyone is waiting for. The votes. One by one, the judges give their answers, and as expected, it's a unanimous yes. The crowd erupts again, and Ryan's reaction is priceless. He covers his face, clearly emotional, trying to hold back tears. This is more than just moving to the next round. This is validation. This is proof that his voice, his story, his vulnerability matter. As Ryan leaves the stage, the camera follows him backstage. He talks about how much this means to him, how he's dreamed of moments like this but never truly believed they would happen. He mentions his family, his journey, the struggles that shaped his music. You can hear the gratitude in his voice, the disbelief, the joy. Back at the judges' table, Simon is still reflecting. He mentions that artists like Ryan are rare, not because they can sing, but because they can make people feel. And in Simon's world, that's everything. What makes this audition stand out is not just the technical skill, but the emotional connection. In a show filled with spectacle, big acts, and dramatic moments, Ryan Beard's performance is powerful because it's simple and real. He doesn't rely on gimmicks or shock value. He relies on truth. Over the next days, clips of the audition spread everywhere. Fans share their reactions online, talking about how the performance gave them chills, how it made them emotional, how it reminded them of the power of music. Many point out Simon's reaction as proof that this was something special. When Simon Cowell loses it, you know you've done something right. Ryan's journey on the show becomes something people want to follow. Viewers are invested now. They're rooting for him, not just because he's talented, but because he feels relatable. He feels like someone who could be singing in their room, writing songs late at night, hoping someone out there will listen. This audition also serves as a reminder that behind every performer is a story we don't fully see. When someone steps onto that stage, they're not just presenting a skill, they're offering a piece of themselves. And when that offering is genuine, it has the power to break through even the toughest defenses. For Simon Cowell, moments like this are rare. He has built a reputation on being honest, sometimes brutally so. But when he is moved, when he stands up and applauds, it means the performance reached him on a level beyond critique. It means the artist did something right at the core. Ryan Beard's audition is one of those moments that people will remember when they think about why talent shows still matter. It's not about winning or losing. It's about being seen and heard. It's about taking a risk and trusting that your voice, exactly as it is enough. As the season continues, Ryan's name stays in conversations. Fans speculate about how far he can go. Critics analyze his style, his song choices, his potential as an artist beyond the show. But no matter what happens next, this audition stands on its own as a defining moment. An ordinary guy walked onto an extraordinary stage and delivered something real. He made an audience feel. He made judges stand. And he made Simon Cowell lose it. And that, more than anything, is what makes this performance unforgettable. As the excitement from that unforgettable audition continues to ripple through the show, Ryan's journey doesn't slow down for even a second. Backstage, the energy is completely different now. Crew members smile at him, other contestants congratulate him, and you can feel that shift, that invisible line between being just another hopeful and becoming someone people are watching closely. Ryan himself still looks stunned, like he's trying to process what just happened. Moments earlier, he was just hoping not to embarrass himself. Now, he's the guy who made Simon Cowell stand up. In the days following the audition, Ryan reflects on that moment over and over again. He talks about how walking onto that stage felt terrifying, how his heart was pounding so hard he thought everyone could hear it. He admits there were moments before singing when doubt crept in, when he wondered if his style was too subtle for such a massive stage. But that doubt disappeared the second he started singing. In that moment, it wasn't about judges or votes. It was about telling the truth through music. As the show moves forward, viewers start learning more about Ryan as a person. His background isn't filled with dramatic twists or over-the-top stories. Instead, it's grounded, real, and relatable. Music was always his escape, the place where he felt understood. He spent years honing his craft quietly, writing songs, performing in small spaces, sometimes wondering if anyone would ever truly hear him. America's Got Talent gave him that platform, but it was his authenticity that made people listen. Social media explodes with reactions. Clips of his audition rack up millions of views. Comment sections fill with people saying they felt chills, that they cried, that they replayed the performance again and again. Many focus on Simon's reaction, replaying that moment where the toughest judge in the room was clearly shaken. Fans comment on how rare it is to see Simon that emotional, how it validates everything they felt while watching. As Ryan prepares for the next round, the pressure increases. Expectations are higher now. People aren't just curious anymore, they're invested. Ryan knows this, but instead of letting it intimidate him, he chooses to stay grounded. He talks about staying true to himself, about not changing who he is just to chase applause. He understands that the reason his audition worked is because it was honest. Losing that honesty would mean losing everything. When Ryan steps onto the stage again, the atmosphere is different. The audience already knows his name. There's a sense of anticipation, a quiet excitement buzzing through the room. This time, the judges watch him with a new level of attention. They're not wondering if he's good. They're wondering how he's going to grow. Ryan delivers another performance that showcases his evolution without losing his core. His confidence is stronger, but his vulnerability is still there. He makes intentional choices, knowing when to let his voice soar and when to let silence speak. The audience responds immediately, clapping along, fully engaged from start to finish. Simon's reaction this time is different, but just as meaningful. He nods during the performance, recognizing the growth. When it's over, Simon praises Ryan not just as a singer, but as an artist. He talks about how difficult it is to maintain authenticity as the stakes rise, and how Ryan managed to do exactly that. He mentions that this is the kind of performer who could have a real future beyond the show. Each round pushes Ryan further, challenging him to dig deeper emotionally and artistically. He talks about learning to trust himself, about embracing the nerves instead of fighting them. For him, fear becomes fuel. Every performance feels like a conversation with the audience, a shared moment rather than a test. What makes Ryan's journey compelling is that it never feels manufactured. There are no exaggerated reactions, no forced drama. Just a young artist navigating a huge opportunity with humility and heart. That authenticity continues to resonate with viewers, many of whom see parts of themselves in his story. Behind the scenes, the judges often reference Ryan when talking about why they love discovering new talent. Simon, in particular, mentions how moments like Ryan's audition remind him that music is still capable of surprising him. For someone who has spent a lifetime in the industry, that's not a small thing. As the competition narrows, every performance matters more than ever. Ryan understands that not everyone can win, but he also understands that success isn't defined by a trophy alone. It's defined by connection. And by that measure, he's already succeeded. The audience continues to support him, cheering louder, voting harder, sharing his performances with friends and family. His fanbase grows not because of flashy moments, but because of consistency and sincerity. People trust him. They believe him when he sings. No matter how far Ryan goes in the competition, his impact is undeniable. He reminded viewers that sometimes the most powerful performances aren't the loudest or the most dramatic. They're the ones that feel real. The ones that make you stop scrolling, stop talking, and just listen. And perhaps the most important part of this journey is what it represents. Ryan Beard didn't just impress a panel of judges. He showed that vulnerability is strength, that quiet voices can be just as powerful, and that even in a world full of noise, honesty still cuts through. He walked onto that stage as a hopeful singer. He walked off as someone who changed the room. Someone who made Simon Cowell lose it. And that legacy will live on long after the stage lights fade. If you enjoyed reliving this powerful moment and you love seeing genuine talent get the recognition it deserves, make sure you keep watching, because there are always more incredible stories waiting to be told, and you never know when the next voice will come along and change everything.